Hello everybody, Truth back in here with another video. Now this video is related to a poll question that I asked on Instagram. Now if you don't follow me on Instagram, I recommend you to. I usually ask poll questions, see what people are thinking, and then I discuss it or talk about it. So I'll leave my Instagram in the description. But it's at mentalhealthtruth_. So I asked a question. Let me pull it up here. So do you believe that good mental health is associated with happiness? And 89% of people said it does, while 11% of people said it doesn't. Now, I was expecting that most people would say that it does, because it's all you hear, right? If you have good mental health, you're happy. This person's happy. If you're not happy, then your mental health is not good. And in a sense, you could say, it makes sense, but it's not necessarily the truth. And I wanted to go over an article to help you understand it a little bit more. And I'll also chime in at times. So without further ado, here is the article. Alright, so happy therapy, mental health antidepressants. Good mental health isn't about being happy all of the time. So I have some pieces that I'm going to share. So right here, it's a popular myth that mental health and happiness exist on the same side of a binary. Depression in particular is portrayed as the opposite of happiness. But happiness is an emotional state, and its opposite is sadness. So just that part right there. There's been many people where, let's say your friends or whatnot, people kind of put on a fake persona, a fake smile, oh, I'm feeling good, when they're really not. You would perceive that person as being happy because they have a smile on their face. In reality, they're not necessarily feeling good. So happiness and sadness would be opposites, but depression and happiness isn't. You can't associate depression as the same way as sadness, because while you're having it, you can have many good days where you do feel happy, but you can also have many bad days where you just feel complete sadness and just not quote unquote yourself. Let's keep going. Depression, like other mood disorders and anxiety, psychotic, personality, eating, and substance use disorders, is a health condition. The opposite, aside from never developing anything to begin with, is symptom management. Happiness is not something you learn about in medical school. So you don't necessarily learn about, here are the things that you don't, people in the mental health field or just the health field in general, they don't learn about what makes people happy. They pay attention to health conditions, and there are symptoms or words that you can characterize as it. So if someone has good mental health, you can say, that person, when I think of somebody that has good mental health, they're happy, right? But it's impossible to be happy all of the time. So would you say that if a person was feeling down, their mental health is not good? But whenever they're feeling up, that means their mental health is good. So if someone's going through depression, but they're having a good day, you wouldn't say that they would have good mental health now, wouldn't you? So you can see why happiness is not necessarily associated with good mental health. It's perceived as it, but it's not an accurate predictor of good mental health. More of an accurate term would be your ability to, whenever you're feeling down, right? You have the ability, exactly what it is, and then you work towards not having that negative feeling or getting out of a negative environment. That would be more towards good mental health. You don't necessarily stay in the slump that you're in. You find ways to get out of it and it doesn't affect you as much. So let's say two people were feeling depressed. One person realizes it, they make a plan, and they get out of it, let's say in like a month. Whereas someone else, they're just fully engulfed in this depressing feeling, and they're experiencing it for like a year plus, and they're still going through it. You could say one has good mental health and one has bad mental health, because one person is not letting all of those negative things consume them. It's not controlling them, whereas the other person, it's fully controlling them, and there's no way for them to get out, or it's hard for them to get out because there's no control. But let's keep going, because there's one other point. So people will often refer to antidepressants as happy pills, a premise that makes no sense to clinicians. The ideal outcome of antidepressants isn't happiness, but a return to the patient's baseline level of functioning, or at least a reasonable approximation. And this thing is related to people that take like medication or pills and say like, oh, this isn't working. The goal isn't necessarily to bring you out of it for like you're feeling really down, just to bring you into like just pure happiness. It's to bring you back to normal, so then you, like to your baseline, like you're content, like you're neither happy or you're neither sad, you're just in the middle. And then you can work around what ways can I make sure that I'm happy. That's why treatment plans, when they do include medication, even though I feel like a lot of it doesn't need medication, people kind of just like sit in the back and like, we don't want to take the time to work this out, so we're just going to give you medication to help you out. So you'll have medication, and then you'll have other things along with the treatment plan for you to use. It's just most people use the medication because it's a much faster and short-term solution, instead of using medication to get to that baseline and then using everything else in that treatment plan to make sure you go above and beyond that to the point where you don't need medication anymore. But instead, people just stick to the medication, and then they become addicted, and then they're like, I need it. This is the only thing that can help me. So, last point. So, among the general public, happiness is a whole industry now, churning with self-help gurus and college lectures and annual UN reports, and a fetishized understanding of yoga. Of course, the kicker is that for all that expended energy, we're only getting less and less happy. So, all these people are trying to help people get to happiness, but more and more people are feeling less happy. And that has to do with another video that I talked about on environment. You can give people all of these things or ways for them to improve their life, but if their environment that they're surrounded in are still negative, they're going to stay that way. It's like with habits. You're going to keep a negative habit if you've done it for so long, and if you've seen people around you continue to do those negative habits. You're not surrounding yourself with people that are doing positive habits or positive things, and once you're surrounded with those people, you start to do those things. So you can't necessarily teach people or guide people to feel happy. It depends on like their self and their own journey. There's many things you can do to help them aid that, and that's what these things are talking about. But it's not a permanent solution. It's more of a temporary solution for people, and they don't necessarily know what to do to get to that more permanent happy feeling or a solution, even though happiness isn't necessarily a permanent thing. but it's something that it's easier for you to get to happiness instead of just always being content or sad. You know, you can work towards having that state of mind, feeling happy instead of feeling sad all the time. So that is what I wanted to say on this video. I appreciate all of you watching. And I want to know, what do you think? Do you think there are more people out there trying to promote and help people reach happiness, but in fact we're becoming less and less happy? Like, are we not focusing on the real problem, and we're just trying to like do a bunch of things that kind of distract us from that problem so we can have temporary happiness? Like, what do you think are some of the things we would have to focus on to have happiness become long lasting or last longer? And what do you think about antidepressants? Do you think they're a positive thing or a negative thing? Let me know what you think. And this is the end of the video. So Truth signing out.